yesterday's recap. So 4, 8, 9, day 9, and we're 2 weeks behind in the history. So let's get into it. We did cursive, we did some poetry, same stuff we've been doing, not a big change, nothing exciting. We did math, which the book is place values. We didn't really write any numbers. I don't want to say we didn't do math problems. We did math problems in sentence form. So we've already done rounding. I don't know why we're doing it again, but we are. But there is decimals, I guess, now. If the number ends in a 6, are you going to round up or down? If the number is 752, are you rounding up or down? He had to write up or down. That's pretty much all his math consisted of yesterday. So that was interesting. Science got cut short. I went out to go open up the garage doors like I do every day for my husband, and I noticed our garbage can knocked over and some movement on the hill, and I looked up on the hill, and Mama Bear was not only in our trash, she had drug our trash bag out of the garbage, up the hill, and was already balls deep in this thing. Like, she had it shredded. I had to spook her out of there, come back inside and tell my son, like, hey, we're going to learn about the ecosystem, and we're going to learn about diseases and trashes and all that kind of stuff. So we cleaned up all the trash before the ravens spread it everywhere else. But before then, we did history. And history. Where do I start? So, we were 2 weeks behind per my last video. So we did lesson 1 yesterday. We're going to do lesson 2 today, maybe 2. I don't know. I'm tossing it around. And then hopefully by Friday we will be caught up. But we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen here, because I have leeway and I can do what I want. So yesterday we started with Jamestown. Okay, so I pulled out this timeline. Excuse me. And the first date they have on here, 1565, St. Augustine, the first permanent settlement in the U.S. founded by the Spanish. This book started with Jamestown. So I'm thinking the last book that if I looked and I remember correctly, it was immigration. So I think that's when that one would have been put in. So this is optional. So it doesn't give you an exact time of when to start it, because it told me I could start it in the 50 states when we first started 2 weeks ago. And I held off because I was like, we're not even touching history, so it's kind of weird. Why would we do that? So then we read this book, This or That. I read it to him because he had to mentally put himself into Jamestown, the colony. And, he had to pick a life. And each life gave him pros and cons. So they gave us a list. Oh my God, I have the hiccups now. Would he rather have dysentery or scurvy? And my baby child said, well, scurvy takes longer to kill you, so I'll go with scurvy. And then one of them was also, would you eat a rat or a snake? And I know that people harp on, like, kids don't have critical thinking. Son, would you rather eat a snake or a rat? And it gives you pros and cons. And the snake's cons were venom and bones. The cons of the rat, if you were starving, the cons were you had to skin it, it carried diseases, and the meat smelled like urine. That was the two shits. Okay, he didn't choose a snake and he didn't choose a rat. He said, I will wait for whatever the snake eats. I'll kill the snake and then I'll eat whatever the snake killed. I'm like, okay, but there's venom. Okay, sure. Would you rather work in the apothecary or would you rather be a barber? In the apothecary is you had to go forage plants and you had to know all this. The barber, you were cutting hair, pulling teeth, cutting boils off of people, like bloodletting. And he was like, well, I'd rather be a barber, but I just want to cut hair. So that's where all that happened. So it was a cute little thing yesterday. I really liked it. Now we got into the timeline. I seen that Jamestown is the second one. I was like, no, nowhere in here does it reference Roanoke, the lost colony of Roanoke. Not one place does this reference it at all. It's not even on the timeline. And I know for a fact that it was before Jamestown. So I pulled out my book And it's like 1680 something. It's like, no, 1580 something. If I'm not mistaken, let me see. 1590. So 1587 Roanoke sale. Oh my God. 1587 Roanoke happened. We don't know what happened after that, okay? We do know that in 1590, Roanoke was found abandoned and nobody was there. So I do have books on Roanoke in my stack there. We will be implementing that in, and so this is where I'm seeing like things will come into my favor. Well, instead of doing one lesson a day, one lesson a week, because now we can implement into what happened to Roanoke, or at least discuss that. Lesson 2, it looks like it's going to go over when the Pilgrims landed in Plymouth Rock. And so that's going to be this book right here, The New Americas. And then after that, we jump from 1620 to 1687 with Witch of Blackbird Pond. We read that last year in Bookshark, so I may not, because it doesn't really, we already know what happens. It doesn't really discuss what I thought it would last year, so that's 1587. And then we jump to 1770, so we're going to skip over the Salem witch trials. No, we're not. We are absolutely not, because you know how many people on TikTok think that witches were actually burned at the stake in Salem? No one was burned at the stake. None of them were witches. Surprise, surprise. So it's funny on Witch Talk when people say that they're descendants from witches in Salem. They were burned at the stake. It's fucking mind-blowing. Do your research, people. Anyways, I digress. This book. Now, I know that this is set up for 9 to 11, or ages 9 to 11 instead of grades. But like I said, last year in 4th grade, we read The Witch of Blackbird Pond. That's a pretty hefty chapter book. Why is this what we're reading and moving me on the page? I don't know. So I'm not happy with the timeline, not happy with the books. Good thing I have books. We'll get it figured out. So instead of, we did lesson 1 yesterday, we may do lesson 2 today, we may not. I may wait to do lesson 2 till tomorrow, because Roanoke should not be just brushed over, right? And then Plymouth Rock, that's when I looked ahead, it's one day. And then by Friday, I could be on lesson 3 and we'll be all caught up. So that's where we're at with that. Have a good day.